All right, Mr. Taliaferro TV, how's everybody doing out there? I don't like using the term ending. I don't like calling things an ending because these guys, they've pled guilty, all these guys have pled guilty. These guys will, at some point, unless something else comes up, will get out of jail and be able to move on with their lives. But it's a sad situation because I'm gonna be honest with you, Tekashi was one of the hottest artists in the country before all of this, and I just hate to see that. You know, these dudes gonna have to do some time, gonna have to sit down for a little minute because of behavior outside of the music game that Tekashi was in. There's just a lot going on. The word racketeering is a name that you attach to Tekashi and his associates in the 9 Trey set. Remember back in February, Tekashi 6ix9ine pled guilty to 9 federal charges, and he is slated to be sentenced, I believe, in January of 2020. Just to be honest with you, what I'm seeing is after Tekashi, not only did he plead guilty, but it's reported that he's agreeing to work with the feds and telling everything he knows to get some of these other 9 Trey gang members locked up for more time than him. The way Tekashi's looking at it, I'm not saying I agree with it or disagree with it. I'm just saying this is what I believe he looked at this situation. He's like, dang, my 9 Trey set turned on me. They didn't like me anyway. There are text messages and phone calls that have been released that said these guys had plans to kill me anyway. Would I look like doing a loan bid for these guys who don't even like me? Anywho, all right, would I look like doing a life bid, trying to play this thing out and spending the rest of my life behind bars? So he opted to snitch. That's what he did. He's working with the feds, and it looks like it's going to be a favorable deal. I believe, according to academics, who's somebody who's close to Tekashi, or at least has contacted Tekashi's lawyers, if I'm not mistaken, Tekashi's team believes at some point he could be out in the next year. I don't know how true that is, but again, academics was super close with Tekashi, so maybe there is some truth in it. Time will tell. But since Tekashi 6ix9ine has pled guilty, the dominoes are falling. These guys are like, yo, I mean, how can we fight this? We got somebody working with the feds, right? Because I believe the police and law enforcement officials always looked at it as like, we know Tekashi ain't the one really committing the crimes. He's just the goody two-shoe boy that y'all done gave the street image and the brand, right? We know who we want. And I always thought Tekashi was never the guy they wanted. They wanted to use him as a snitch to get some of these other guys, and the dominoes are starting to fall. Remember, Kafano Shotty Jordan, aka Tekashi 6ix9ine's quote-unquote manager, he pled guilty, and he faces 15 years minimum with robbery and discharging a firearm during a shooting at Barclays. That was a few weeks ago. Now, the other day, we had Jensel Ish Butler. He pled guilty to 1 count of firearms possessions linked to a robbery back in Manhattan of 2018. And now, over the last few hours, we got 2 more guys that have officially entered their guilty plea. Jamel Mel Murder Jones has pled guilty to 1 count of racketeering and 1 count of participating in narcotics distribution conspiracy. He's facing some time, and the last guy here, we got Fahim Crippy Water, who's he pled guilty to 2 counts of racketeering of 5 arms. Pretty much it breaks down to a firearm offense in connection with an armed robbery in Manhattan, April 2018. I saw that Fahim Crippy Walter's attorney is actually pushing for the minimum 60 months. He's like, yo, with good behavior, I'm summarizing here his statement. With good behavior, we hope that our client here can get out in 60 months. I think that's a stretch. That's 5 years. You know, I think that's a stretch. He's probably looking at closer to 8, 9, or 10. But, I mean, if he could walk away from this thing with 5 years, that is the best case scenario for what a lot of these guys were facing. They were talking throwing 15, 20 minimum at these guys. And it looks like Shotty's going to have to do that. But maybe a couple of these other guys can get out earlier. Again, we will see as this thing plays out. Most of these guys will be sentenced in July, midway through July. And then, like I said, Tekashi will figure out his fate because he is working with the feds. His is pushed back a little bit. He'll figure out his fate in January of 2020. I'll keep you guys up to date if more comes in. If you have not done so, please subscribe to the platform to be up to date on stories like this and more. All right, I'm out. I came from nothing, but I want everything God has for me. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I still represent the culture.
I got the kids. You are now tuned in.
Yo, we locked in right now, Mr.
TALIAFERRO. Mr. TALIAFERRO.
Mr. TALIAFERRO.
Mr. TALIAFERRO.
Shout out to Mr. TALIAFERRO.
You're watching Mr. TALIAFERRO TV.
Mr. TALIAFERRO TV. Here with the triple B's, you can't do nothing but win.